Collabro is here, and let me introduce you to the guys. Tom, Matt, Michael, and Jamie. It's nice to meet all you guys.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
How are you enjoying Canada so far?
We absolutely love it. We've already done 3 shows. We also went to Niagara Falls, did the Edge Walk, which was ridiculously scary. But we're loving it. The scenery is amazing.
You mentioned the Edge Walk, and for those who haven't seen it, of course, that is basically you hook on a wire and you walk outside of the CN Tower. You guys, did anybody not enjoy that?
I didn't enjoy it, no. I remember, if you look on our sort of Facebook and Twitter pages, you can see all these pictures where all the other boys look really happy, and you can just see my face.
The fear
in my eyes.
Yeah, because actually I ate in the restaurant there last weekend, and I was just freaked out. I was inside, but I was freaked out by the fact it was moving, so...
I actually, my parents came out to see us perform here, and I went up the tower to eat at the revolving restaurant. I think it moves very fast.
Yes.
I was like, hang on, I feel like I'm on a ride here, and I was going backwards as well, so I felt a bit ill.
Was it
actually
faster?
While eating.
We did the revolving restaurant in New York, didn't we? And
Yeah,
that wasn't
it's
very fast at all.
No, it's faster than that.
Oh, no.
Now, a lot of male vocal groups are pieced together, sometimes by very canny record executives, but you guys all existed as a group, Collabro, before you went to Britain's Got Talent, right?
Yeah, we did. Matt and I knew each other because we were doing contracts abroad in sort of holiday like hotels and complexes, and we knew each other on Facebook, and that's how this all sort of came about. We found Michael and Tom in auditions. Then our first ever rehearsal was above a pub in London, and that's where it all kind of really began. And then suddenly we were just like, okay, we should take this to a bigger audience. BGT's perfect, and it was.
Well, you ended up winning, and you also ended up with, I mean, I guess that was because you won, but were you all, do you think you were always destined to end up being managed by Simon Cowell's company?
Yes. Well, we were hoping so. Obviously, Psycho is such a big company, so we were. What happened was we went after we won. We went into Simon Cowell's office, not knowing anything, and we sat down. And they just gave us this piece of paper. Obviously, we're looking at pictures on the wall of all their stars that are on the wall. And they give us this piece of paper and say it's got a list of songs in it. And then they just said, so, these are the songs you're going to be doing on the album. You go into the studio next week, and here's some champagne, enjoy. And that was pretty much all we knew. Mm-hmm. So we were just thrown into it, really.
Now, he kind of plays a jerk on television. Is he a jerk in real life?
You know what? He does have a bad rap for being a bit of a jerk, but he's just brutally honest, and he's never had a bad thing to say about us. So,
do you know the bad rap that he does?
I don't know. I've never heard him. I don't know if he has any musical talent himself.
I don't think he does.
I'd love to hear him rap. That'd be great. I don't know what he'd rap about.
You heard it here first.
All of his money, maybe.
Have you guys always had a musical background? I mean, one of you was a choir boy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah,
okay.
I was in the choir since I was 7 years old. But I think we've all done kind of amateur dramatics, and we've always sung locally in our homes and in our towns. So it was really just a natural progression to do this. But we've all come from a love of musical theatre, so it really works.
In terms of your approach to music, then, I mean, for those who aren't familiar with your stuff, what would you say your genre is, or do you defy all genres?
So, across our 2 albums, Stars and Act 2, we tried to focus on musical theatre. That's what we went for on Britain's Got Talent. But we also did some pop covers as well, because we wanted to, reach out to a broader market. But actually, we've got a 3rd album coming out early next year, and we're going to really stick back with just musical theatre, because we want to show that that's what we really love, and hopefully people will enjoy it as much as we've enjoyed making it.
So what is it about those songs?
Probably the story. We have always individually loved musical theatre. Obviously, we did Les Miserables all the way through Britain's Got Talent, and that's really what we became known for. I think there's a special way of connecting with an audience when you're telling a song that tells a story, and I think that's because the singer connects with the song as well, and that's what we've always loved about it. It's the story of the songs.
Can I ask what it's like, because I know you've played, for example, the Palladium Royal Albert Hall. What's it like to play in one of these storied venues that maybe you've sat in as an audience member?
It's very daunting, but it's absolutely incredible. Actually, when you go to these venues, especially something like the Royal Albert Hall, you don't actually realise how very close the audience is to you. It's basically a huge circle, and obviously on the edges of the stage, the circle comes round, and the audience are just sitting there a few feet away from you. So it's absolutely beautiful, and just sitting in the audiences ourselves when we're watching shows, we always aspired to be up on that stage and to be up doing something with musical theatre. So it really is an absolute dream come true to be on that stage looking out.
Because we have a venue here that's sort of like these ones. It's 100 years old, Massey Hall, and when I've been there, you feel like the ghosts of generations of artists are still about to come around a corner.
I think these kind of venues have that kind of effect, don't they? I mean, when we were at the Royal Albert Hall, we actually were told stories by people like Alec Jones and Cliff Richard. They've all told us stories about the Royal Albert Hall, and I mean, Cliff Richard did 23 dates there, was it, or something? And it is the kind of place where there's definitely a lot of history when you walk in the dressing rooms backstage and you think of all the amazing people who've been there and done concerts there.
Let me ask you about some of your backgrounds that are non-musical. Tom, for example, working in a restaurant, a Japanese restaurant.
Yeah, that's right. So my partner's half Japanese, and she got me the job there. It was a lot of fun, actually. I learned a lot about the food and a lot about the culture, and a few words which actually helped when we went over to Japan earlier last year. We actually recorded a song over there. We do I Dream to Dream on our second album, Act 2, and we recorded it in Japanese and performed it in Japanese for a Japanese audience.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
Phonetically, or how do you?
It was phonetic.
Yeah, phonetically. We learned a few of the words, but we didn't really have.
Funny enough, that song actually got to #1 in Japan.
Yeah,
So
it
you're
did.
big in Japan.
Yeah.
Okay. Did anybody ever assess your accents in it?
No. We've been told
They were
by
okay.
the Japanese that we pronounce everything quite well, so that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's a bit like opera. I mean, opera singers sing in other languages, and you just learn to master it. Matt, what is a kitchen salesman?
So basically, I started out as a chef. So I was working in a kitchen, and then I ended up selling them. So I sold kitchens in
Like
the end.
industrial kitchens?
Yeah, well, no, like kitchen worktops and
Yeah.
like cooker hoods and all that sort of thing. So I ended up working in kitchens, then crossing over and then selling kitchens. So,
So you must be a pretty good cook. Do you cook for these guys?
No, I haven't yet. I'm better at selling them, I think.
Michael, you worked in a petrol station or gas station, we say in North America.
Yeah,
Pumping gas?
yeah. So basically, I was just I got a degree in accounting and finance actually from university, and then I decided that I started working for PwC. I've seen that they've got a building around here, and I was like, actually, I don't think this is for me. So I got a job at just the local gas station, and was just thinking about what else I wanted to do, and then I saw the audition come up for Collabro, and I went for it, and
you were very good.
I haven't looked back yet.
Yeah.
I was the first audition of the day.
Were you really?
It was.
Do you remember what you sang?
Yeah, I sang Why God from Miss Saigon.
And you guys all liked it?
He was excellent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Jamie, you worked in finance.
I worked in the healthcare system. My degree was in Spanish, and then my mum ran a hospital and I fell into that. And actually, funnily enough, yesterday we took a tour around Providence Healthcare, which is sort of one of the reasons we're here in Canada to do the Silver Ball at the Royal York Fairmont. And it was beautiful. It actually sort of reminded me of why I loved working in hospitals in the first place. And I sometimes miss the sort of patient side of things, but I love this more.
What is it like when you reach that level of fame where, like the Beatles, the girls start chasing you down the street? I mean, it must be humbling and exhilarating at the same time.
We'll let you know when it happens.
To be honest, most of our fans tend to be sort of like more slightly older than the teenage core group that say One Direction have or had. And basically, they tend to be really, really polite, so no one really chases anyway. They're just like, can we have a picture, please? Or could you please sign this? And that's really lovely, and we actually get to know them over the course of time.
The mums love us.
We actually went for dinner last night, and there was a pair of girls stood, and we saw them whispering, and then there was a couple, and Matt overheard one of them say, would it be rude if I went over, and things like that. So it's really great to know that we get noticed. But if you do see us, do come and say hi. We won't bite.
Definitely.
But that is an interesting dynamic that often, I'm a big fan of Britpop, obviously, so somebody can be incredibly famous in England, and you can walk the streets of cities in North America, and they're not sure who you are. So is it a constant test of your ability to get there on the stage and perform, the fact that people aren't melting just by seeing you yet here in North America?
I think, sorry, I think one of the things is the kind of music that we do, even if we're not particularly famous in sort of North America, and we're breaking into it now, I think that the kind of music that we do, that's why our venues are still sort of on this Canadian tour, are still selling out. We've had 3 venues sell out on this tour, which is really, really good for a band that aren't really that well known here. And maybe it's the kind of music, maybe it's the fact that we were on BGT that we won it, I don't know, but there's an accessibility there to people, and that's why we were talking about musical theatre being accessible to all audiences. So it's an interesting thing to see the dynamic between what happens in the UK with us, where we do get recognised a lot, and what happens in North America. But the fact that we were actually out at dinner last night, sort of just in Toronto, and people were recognising us was really quite surreal.
And are you guys going to stay humble, or is this going to be, is this inevitable trajectory, it seems, with boy bands or ensembles, where eventually each of you is an individual star, you start to argue, you tell each other to sod off, and then...
Oh, we do that anyway, but no, I think you've got to stay humble in this industry, because I think what you've got to remember is it can be over at any moment.
Yeah.
And one phrase I've always been brought up with is, don't forget the people on the way up, because you've got to pass them on the way back down.
Guys,
You've got to stay humble.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.